Folks, Vitek here from Wani, and with us today we have one and only legendary Terry Butler of Obituary. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing good. Just gonna start on a simple note, and it might be easier for you to answer that. Why is Obituary so fucking good?
Well, I mean, Trevor and John and Donald are great at what they do. They've been together since 1984, and so they work well together. Um, I've known them for a long time. Um, I think I'm pretty good at what I do. And Ken, the same with Ken. He's been in the metal scene in Orlando forever,
Mhm.
and he's been a friend of ours for a long time. So you put us all together. For one, we get along great. Professionally, we work well together, and then personally, we're all great friends, and it just gels, and we're all on the same page. We all have the same goals in mind, what we want to do, and no one really fights against it.
Absolutely, man. There's a certain level of expectation Obituary, have been surpassing after every album. And every time a new record comes out, I always wonder, how would you guys top the previous one? Let me take an example of Inked in Blood, which was a
Yeah,
phenomenal record. And here you are writing songs after more than 3 decades of existence. Again, it's a lot of pressure, a lot of work to write fresh, memorable songs. And that's something that keeps Obituary alive. So, you guys as a team have been working together. How is it possible for you guys at this point of time, in your career, to write fresh, good songs, memorable songs?
yeah. Well, you know, Ken and myself bring kind of new blood into the band
Mhm.
and new ideas, but the basic core is there. The basic obituary sound with John's voice, Trevor's guitar tone.
Mhm.
But it's all about the riffs. I mean, you got to have some good riffs and something that people can remember.
Mhm.
That's what starts it out. And obituary has their own certain style, and we try and stay in that formula.
Mhm.
We venture out of the formula every now and then. Like on the new record, there's a couple different things. There's a few songs that are kind of more thrash
Right.
than death metal, but there's always been thrash in death metal, from way back in the early days. So I mean, but we just I think it's a testament to the people in the band that we can try and keep things fresh, and I think we succeed at that.
Absolutely, because you guys give a lot of importance to groove. I mean, Obituary is not your regular death metal sound; it's the
No,
groove-oriented sound which you guys obviously bring in. And like you said, there's no change in the structure of Obituary. You always write songs based on a certain formula which you have. But on this
yeah,
record, there are a lot of thrash. I mean, in fact, the first song you released itself had a lot of
yeah,
thrash elements. And you've said this time and time again that you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Fans aren't ready for a change, but here you are still bringing in the new ideas, which makes the songs even more exciting. Was there sort of a conscious decision to kind of bring in a little bit more of a thrashier side of the band on this record?
um, Ken, he wrote two songs for the record, and Ken's background is more thrash and death metal, so some of his influence comes into that.
Hmm.
But we've always been influenced by Slayer, early Exodus,
Right.
you know, Dark Angel, that kind of side of stuff. So some of the thrash elements we pull from that a little bit, and I don't know, it's just starting to write songs. You throw out some riffs, and it might not sound like an obituary type song, but once John starts singing,
Singing, right.
you know, and all of a sudden it sounds like an obituary song. So we knew we were probably taking a little bit of a risk on a few of the songs, but we wanted to kind of throw something out there that was obituary, but maybe still a little bit different at the same time.
What was the agenda behind naming it self-titled? Because generally bands do it in two cases. One is either you guys are like completely experimenting and want to do a new sound, or it's kind of a celebration of a band that we've done this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. What was the agenda
Yeah.
behind having a self-titled record?
Well, Ink and Blood had such a brutal album cover. There's no way we could top that on this new one or anything like that.
Right.
So we like we're like, okay, let's kind of make this our Black album, have a killer, kind of a killer newer logo on there, and just kind of simplify it a little bit. So we were kicking around song titles. There's we could call it any one of the song titles on the record. We could have called the record that.
Right.
Could have called the record Sentence Day or No Hope or whatever. But we just decided, hey, let's make it really simple and just call it Obituary. And that's it. It's our 10th album. 10th is a nice round number. So
That's right.
yeah, we just said let's just call it Obituary.
Right, man. And obviously, talking about the bass sound, I mean, the Obituary mix is always raw, where you can hear all the instruments clearly. I mean, there's never a struggle for me to find a bass line or me to hear what
Yeah.
Ken is playing, or or what Trevor is playing. It's pretty much clear. And you guys have your own studio. You guys take your own sweet time with this record. I mean, it's always been a case where that you guys rewrite till you guys feel satisfied with the songs. So when you talk about the self-titled record, how long did this take to come up and obviously do a self-produced and mixed and took care of all the aspects of the record?
Um, we had a couple songs kind of kicking around at the end of the touring cycle last year, like the last couple festivals around August, and we kind of took a month and just wrote songs, and we started recording maybe a month before the Exodus tour started in Europe, the Battle of the Bass tour. So by the time the Battle of the Bass tour started, we pretty much had most of the stuff recorded. Um, Ken and Trevor did a few things on the road with a little portable studio
Hmm.
set up. But like I said, a couple of songs were kind of already there, kicking around for a few months. But most of the songs are written in about a month after we got off tour.
Cool. That's great. And the first half
Yeah,
of the record is much faster in your pace, the Obituary sound. And the next half is your classic groove oriented, the death metal side of Obituary. So, you guys have kind of planned it out really well. When I heard the album from the first track to the
yeah,
last, it starts with a belter of a track. I mean, you have there's no stopping by. Brave, Sentence Day, End It Now. There's a lot of
yeah,
fast-paced songs at the beginning, and then when you move to the mid to the lower section of the record, you have more groove. Was that sort of a
yeah.
conscious decision to balance the record with both and kind of let fans, feel the heat of the first half and then kind of slow down in the next?
Pretty much. We wanted to, so to speak, we wanted to like punch you right in the face
Right.
right off the bat. 1-2 punch with those two songs, and then when you're kind of dizzy from that reeling, we wanted to pound you into the ground with a nice, heavy, slow groove stuff. You know what I mean? So, we kind of that's kind of what we wanted to do. Surprise people right off the bat with a couple fast ones, and then kind of settle into a nice pace after that.
Right. That's a great idea. And it made me think, I was listening to a lot of old bands who released the record. I mean, let's take an example of new Creator, new Overkill, new Obituary. It made me think that even though you guys have been writing and recording and touring from decades and decades, there's still quality metal coming out of you guys. And when we look at the new generation of bands, it's something that they must take a lesson from you guys, that how it's done and how decisions are taken and how you keep the songwriting abilities up and running even after so many decades.
Yeah, like I said, Obituary's got a certain formula, and we're not going to stray from it. And we're not going to try and reinvent the wheel. We're not going to come out with a technical record, some kind of crazy stuff where John's trying to sing clean vocals. We're going to do what we do, and it's more about the song. If it's a killer, catchy, good song, nice riffs, and you can put your patented sound on top of that. I mean that's what it's all about. I mean, I get a lot of the newer bands coming out. They're not sure what they should do. Maybe they don't have an identity. Should we be as fast as we can be and as technical as we can be, or what? So some bands, it seems like they really don't have any kind of style these days. They're kind of vanilla. They're kind of just they don't have a soul or anything, so to speak. And it's hard to find a band, a newer kind of band that is like that. And we're fortunate, we're in the front line. We're the first tier of the death metal bands. We were there at the beginning when death metal was created, and we're still going.
Right.
So we have that on our side. We're one of the veterans, one of the pillars,
Creators.
if you want to. The building blocks of death metal. We are one of those building blocks. So
Definitely,
you
man.
know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
And you wrote two legendary records with Chuck. Leprosy and spiritual healing. I mean, Chuck has told this many times that you have contributed to the songwriting as well. I spoke to Gene Hoglan a couple of weeks ago since he has a new DVD coming up, and he, told me about how it was working with Chuck and what sort of experience he had and why Chuck never cared for the fans, how they would respond to the songs. Instead, he wrote what he loved. What was your experience with Chuck like? I mean, you guys have you've known each other for a long time till he passed away.
yeah. I mean, I had a great experience working with Chuck. I met him in I believe it was '84, early '85. I think it was '84 when the Mantis demo came out.
Hmm.
I bought the Mantis demo from Chuck at a Nasty Savage show here in Tampa, and you know, 3 years later, I was in Death. But I got along great with Chuck. We had a great time. We would go record shopping together, hang out. When we wrote Spiritual Healing, me and Bill Andrews practically lived at his house, and we wrote the whole record there. And I had a great time. We still do that. You write music for yourself and for the band, what the band is. If you start trying to write music to fit a music critic's opinion or whatever, then you're not being true to yourself.
True.
You have to write the music that comes out of you that you want to create, and that's what we did in Death. And we had a great time. It was awesome being there. Being one of the early death metal bands to be touring. We set out on tour in like May of 1987 or whenever Scream Bloody Gore came out.
Hmm.
That's when we hit the road touring. We toured pretty solid up until Spiritual Healing. So it was a great experience. It got my name out there. It got me going. Got me a lot of good touring experience. That it helped me along today. So
Absolutely, man. That's good to hear. I mean, you have had a wonderful career so far. I mean, obviously you did with Death, as we discussed. Then you went with 6 Feet Under, and obviously with Obituary now. Three different death metal bands with different styles. Here you are. You're easily fit. You're pretty much very flexible with each one of them, not just as a bass player, but also as a songwriter as well. So when you look at
yeah.
it, out of these four, which one, according to you, has been the most complex to write and record?
Well, out of those four, it's definitely Death. It's a little more intricate,
Hmm.
a lot different scales and stuff like that. But uh, actually, the most difficult and technical band I've been involved with, I'm part of a band called Denial Fiend. It's like a little side project thing.
Hmm.
We have a couple of records out. Um, that stuff's really complex. Sam Williams, the guitar player. But as far as those four bands, it's probably Death. I mean, Obituary and 6 Feet Under kind of groovy, kind of
Yeah.
straightforward a little bit. And Massacre was more of a Dark Angel Slayer kind of thing.
Right.
But definitely Death.
Definitely death. That's good to hear, man. And
Yeah.
Massacre, I think they have reunited for the next record. Are you part of it?
No, actually, they're not. When Back from Beyond came out in 2014,
Uh-huh.
it was a great record, and we did a tour with Death to All and Obituary,
Right.
and we had another tour lined up in Europe with Death to All. But during the tour, Rick and the drummer Mikey, and by the end of the tour, Rick and Mikey, the drummer, had destroyed the band. They sabotaged it. A lot of behind the scenes back talking and backstabbing they did. So at the end of I said, that's it. The band's over because Bill Andrews, who owns the band name and it's his band, gave us his blessing to keep Massacre going.
Right.
So when all that went down, it's like that's it. The band's over. But recently, Rick has a band called The End, and they were doing their own thing, whatever. but then Cam Lee got involved, and they wanted to call the band Massacre. So Bill and I was like, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to keep watering down the band name, and that's it. You got to call it something else, but you ain't going to call it Massacre because legally, Bill and I own the name. So whatever. But
So it's not Massacre
you
anymore.
know, no, it cannot be called Massacre. They can do all they want and write all the songs in the world they want, but it's not going to be called Massacre.
Cool, man. That's good to hear. And you're touring with Creator, the Decibel tour again, a long tour in States. Anything planned back in Europe, or it's kind of too early?
Yes. No, we're going to do the Creator tour. Then after the Creator tour, we got a small 2-week tour in America, like up the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're gonna go to Europe, and we kind of start the whole festival cycle for yeah,
Mm-hmm.
June, July, and August. We're back and forth to Europe playing festivals. But we got a few things lined up, and then we're gonna try and get back over for a full blown European tour
Mm-hmm.
in January 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
But
second half of 2017 is more like a resting time after the summer
well,
festivals are done.
we got a few things lined up. We're gonna nail down a South American tour
Cool.
in the later half of 2017. We're trying to get over to Japan and Australia, that side over there, and do some stuff there.
Definitely, man. So to sum up the interview, if you had to, let's say, describe the self-titled record in a sentence, or what would you say?
Oh, let's see. It is a classic obituary slab of molten metal with a sprinkle of thrash thrown in and some amazing leads from Ken Andrews.
Perfect, man. That's pretty much good to hear. Perfect, man. Terry,
Yep.
thanks a lot for spending some time. It was a great time having a chat with you. Good luck with the release, obviously with the tour. We will catch you guys in States, and good luck with everything ahead for Obituary in 2017.
All right. Thank you very much for the interview.
Take care, man. I'll catch you soon.
You too. All right. We'll see you.
See ya.
Bye.